Hi everyone, Stacy Holzheimer here with Bank of North Dakota. All right, if anyone caught the live that we just started a few minutes ago, I got notification that it was like flip-flopped and we were sideways, so hopefully we're good to go this time. So we are live. I'm here with Justin Grams at NDSCS. I'm getting the thumbs up, so I think we're good. That's the beauty of live. So we're at NDSCS to talk about the benefits of a college campus visit when you're looking at your different colleges and campus opportunities when you're getting ready to go to school. First and foremost, remember to like and share this if you find everything beneficial. If you've got questions, leave them in the comments below. If you don't feel comfortable leaving them in the comments, certainly send us a direct message and I can answer them. If they're more specific for Justin, I can definitely give that information to him as well. So we're at NDSCS, but this is really going to be a good resource no matter what school you go to, right? Yeah. So tell us a little bit, you're the director of admissions here. Tell us the importance of a campus visit.
Sure, and I said this earlier, if you caught the first go around. But thanks for having us,
yes,
for being here on campus today. And to me, in the college search process, campus visits are one of the most important things that students can do. I really equate it to buying a car or a house. You wouldn't test drive a car without buying it. You wouldn't buy a house without taking a tour and checking out and making sure it has the right number of bedrooms and all of those things. So a college campus is really the same way. You know, they all have a unique feel. They all have their own culture. You know, you have to make sure that it's a place that you feel comfortable. And I think for students, sometimes it's that feeling you get that you just know this is a place I'm going to be, or maybe this isn't, and that's okay too, because finding that right fit is really, really important. And for me, there's really kind of three criteria that students should look for. First and foremost, they got to have the academic program that student wants. That's the big one, not where all of your friends are going or your favorite sport team or whatever. And if those things happen to align, that's great, but that's not always going to be the case. So that academic piece, they have to fit financially. There's a wide range of cost between different colleges and different sizes and length of time and all of those pieces. And they have to fit socially as well. You know, like our campus here in Wahpeton, we have residence halls. So if you're looking for a residential experience, that might be a good fit. Some students want that 4-year experience. Some want a religious affiliated institution. So it's just getting out and about and seeing what's out there for students to see.
Absolutely, and it gives you a really good idea of what you can potentially expect when you go to school.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you mentioned residence hall. We're actually sitting in one of your, is this a newer one or a remodeled residence
It's a renovated residence
hall?
hall. Yep, it's one of our study lounges, and it's finals week, so we actually had to ask a student to take a little bit of a break from studying so we could do this video here.
Lots of students around getting ready for those finals, so good luck everyone if you're watching this in finals this week. So tell us a little bit about what those campus visits look like and what students can expect.
Sure, and you know, all campuses do them differently, and I think they really fall into two different styles of visits. You have an open house style where it's a large group. You can sort of blend in with the crowd a little bit. So if you're like, hey, I'm not really sure, I just want to check out a campus, that's always a good way to do that. A lot of times we see juniors that will take that kind of a visit, and it's very broad overview. Typically you're not going to have one-on-one time with an admissions staff member or faculty member, but again, it gives you that initial feel of what a campus is like. And those range from all campus-wide to maybe a specific cluster of programs, some of those different areas. And the other piece is really an individual visit. And that's what, if campuses offer that, which most of the ones in our area do, that's what I recommend, because that's where you're going to get the most one-on-one attention. You and mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, those significant others in your life are going to be able to sit down one-on-one with someone in an admission office and talk about all of the things related to that, get a more individualized experience and see the programs that they really want to see. So that's typically what it looks like. I tell students to relax, have fun. Don't be worried about, hey, this is, you know, we're interviewing you, but you're interviewing us. So we want to make sure that you've got all those questions answered. So have a good time with it too.
Absolutely. And the student's the one that's investing all of their time and their money once they're going to be in school. So absolutely right. Want to make sure it's the best fit. So tell me a little bit, this is a little bit different direction, but what does a student typically need to do? Do they contact admissions to schedule a visit,
Sure.
or how does that usually work?
Yeah, so that's typically how it goes. Almost every college out there, I'm sure, is going to have an online visit request form, and you can find out, well, what times do they do weekend visits? What about morning, afternoons? They'll ask how many guests are coming, what areas do you want to see? So that's, that online visit request is a pretty common direction, but you can always pick up the phone and give a call to those admission offices too, and they'll walk through what all those options are.
Awesome. Great. So what kind of questions after the visit's scheduled, they're here on campus, what kind of questions should a student be asking?
Sure, I really think 3 different categories, right?
Okay.
Hopefully when you're on a campus visit, you're going to get to interact with some current students. And to me, that's some of the most valuable people for students to visit with because they're living it, right? They're the ones there. They chose that campus to attend. So what did you like? What didn't you like? What kind of things do you do? In the evenings, what are classes like? How are finals? What kind of activities are there to do outside of the school day and the studying? So all of those pieces kind of goes on that social aspect we talked about, right? A little bit. And then the faculty piece, if that's an opportunity, or to see that department area that you're going to study in, so you can get to know the instructors a little bit, maybe see the different lab spaces that you're going to learn in. And again, depending on the type of campus you visit, there's going to be varying things that you see. And depending on what you want to do, if you're going into a business-related program, there's not as many things to see and touch as if you're going into a healthcare career or manufacturing area or something like that. So, but getting to understand what is this really going to look like, and maybe what's my future job, work environment going to be like is a good part of that. And then I think the last piece is all of the kind of business stuff that you do with the admission office. So what does it take to get in, and what's the application process, and how much is it going to cost? I think those are all really important questions that students need to ask too as they're looking at exploring different colleges.
And is it okay that they ask these questions on during these visits as they're walking around typically? Are these questions that you get that whole time, or can they email or call after the fact that they get additional
Both.
questions?
I would say absolutely. It's awesome when families and students come with a list of questions of here's the things that we're wondering. And I would encourage students to do that, because something that I always tell students to do is don't just visit our campus, go and visit somewhere else, because that's going to give you some good comparison, and maybe pop a question up about that they didn't think of before that I didn't ask, and then they can reach back out to me or whoever and say, well, how does NDSCS do this particular thing? And that's, I think, really helpful as they're making those comparisons as to really where you want to go. And don't be afraid to ask those questions. Again, I know I mentioned that already too, but I think we take for granted sometimes that it can be intimidating for a student to come on a campus tour to a place that, oh, am I going to get in? What's it like? All of those things. But we are friendly folks generally, and we want to make sure that you have all the information you need to make an informed decision. Yeah,
absolutely. And so you had said earlier, this is kind of, you're interviewing them, but they're interviewing you really to decide if the school that you're visiting is going to be the best fit for you. And that just made me think of, when you go into a job interview or something, you always know that they're going to ask at the end, do you have any questions for us? And you really should think about those questions ahead of time and go into that interview with at least a few questions to ask them. So that's a good thing to think about it in this regard too. Have that list so you're able to compare and you're ready ahead of time rather than after the fact being like, man, I should have asked this, or what does this look like? So that's really great advice. Awesome advice. Any other final tips before we wrap up?
Well, I think if you can visit during the academic year, that's better than the summer. The summer's great because the weather's beautiful, and we'll all welcome visitors any time of the year. But to really see what's happening on campus and what's going on during the school day is something that I really recommend to students to do that. I think make sure that you ask those questions. I know we've mentioned that a few times, but we want to make sure that you're informed and have what you need. And then, visit multiple campuses. That's a really important piece of the puzzle too, because it does give you that comparison piece and the things that go along with that. And then it's not too late. So if you're sitting there and you're like, I graduate from high school in a couple of weeks and I haven't quite decided what I want to do, most of the schools in our region, NDSCS included, will take visits, and we're still accepting applications throughout the summer. So make sure that you take that time to do that if you haven't done that already.
Okay, I was going to ask that. When is too late in order to visit, or so it's something that that you can do all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have students that this time of year they're on a second visit, or maybe sometimes a third, where they've made that initial visit and they're back here checking us out just to make sure that this is really the place that I want to go. And that's okay too, because you may have different questions in May of your senior year than you did in April of your junior year, whenever you visited before. And again, you're making a big financial decision and a big 2, 3, 4+ year commitment to somewhere, so you want to make sure that that's feeling like a good decision for you.
And a good fit for you.
Yeah.
Great advice. So before we wrap up, so one thing, in my role at the bank, people ask me what do I do, and I say, really in a nutshell, I talk to North Dakotans about really planning and paying for college and what that looks like. And obviously that is part of what I do here with these lives with Amanda. And with that, we talk a lot about planning for college all through high school. So freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. A lot of times there's like juniors and seniors that are doing campus visits, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever see anyone earlier, or when is the best time for students to start thinking about visiting campuses?
I think when the student's ready, and we see a lot of juniors and seniors when it comes to that individual one-on-one visit, but when we do group visits or visits on a particular cluster of programs, a lot of times we'll see schools that will get a group of students together and come and visit campus, and they'll maybe 9th graders or sophomores.
Very cool.
We have a group of 7th graders coming to campus this Thursday, so that'll be, that's obviously going to look very different for what we do than what we do with someone that's a senior. We're not going to talk about this is how much tuition is to a 7th grader in as much detail anyway.
Right.
So I think for me, it's whenever that student's ready to make that decision of, hey, I want to go and check it out. So sophomore, junior, senior year, that's great.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, wonderful. So before we wrap up, any last minute, I know I've already asked you that once, but anything else that's come to mind?
I don't think so. Those of you that are getting ready to graduate, congratulations on that, and good luck with wherever your plans take you. And thanks again for spending some time on our campus.
Yes, thank you for having us here. And if, like I said earlier, if there's any questions, I haven't seen any questions or comments come up, so make sure to let us know if you have any questions, or really if you've got any other, if you think it would be helpful for us to do certain lives, let us know that as well. Next week, I will be up at UND. We're going to be talking about the benefits of living on campus. So kind of a continuation of, we're in a residence hall here. We'll talk about really what those benefits look like. So we will see everyone next week. Good luck with finals, everybody who's going through the finals this week. And for those seniors in high school, buckle down. You've got just a couple weeks left and then you're going to be done. So, all right, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.